and welcome to this meal prep video. In case you don't know me, my name is Tabby. I'm a vegan nutritionist and I'm currently studying fitness economy. So all of the recipes are going to be high protein, vegan and mainly healthy. I'm also going to include all of the macro and micronutrients of the food. And otherwise, this will also contain a full day of eating of today, because I figured I'm going to eat a bit differently today. I'm actually having this apple for breakfast because I'm not hungry, because I usually don't have that much in the morning. But we will make some pancakes later only for today, because I still have some batter from yesterday, and then we will go out for food, which I'm really excited because that restaurant looks really nice. I still need to buy some food, so I will do that right now and have the apple beforehand, so just that I have something in my stomach. I think that makes sense. And also I was craving an apple, weirdly. I usually don't eat that many apples. And I will buy some food and then we will see each other in the kitchen for the meal prep.
And of course I got hungry right when I arrived back home. I had these protein pancakes with banana, blueberries, some tahini and syrup on top, as well as the piece of chocolate that you've just seen. This always melts perfectly on top when the pancakes are still hot.
Hello, it's my editing self, and I felt like I needed a quick little transition because we are officially starting the meal prep now.
And we are starting off with these sweet potatoes, because I always like to do things first that take the most amount of time and the least amount of effort. And these little babies just need to be cut in half, have some holes poked into them, and then they go into the oven for about 40 minutes.
And since we already have the oven on, we are making this beautiful 5-minute protein pasta, which it probably takes 10 minutes if you do 4 portions like I did this time. We are putting some water in there, some tahini, some herbs, salt, and then the pasta, some frozen vegetables on top, as well as some smoked tofu, and that goes into the oven along with the sweet potato. Now in this meal we have a lot of vitamin B1 and vitamin B3, as well as a decent bit of iron, calcium and copper from the tofu, and 36 grams of protein.
Now while the dinner is cooking in the oven, I'm starting to make my overnight oats, which are usually my breakfast or post-workout meal. I'm starting with 100 grams per jar here, and I'm usually making 5 jars at once. I'm also adding in about a tablespoon of flax seeds in each jar, which helps with satiety. Now keep in mind that while flax seeds are really high in omega-3, those fatty acids are only going to be absorbed if the flax seeds are ground. For me personally, this is not as relevant as I take an omega-3 supplement as well. I'm putting in about 20 grams of protein powder in each jar and filling it up with some sugar-free soy milk. Sugar-free soy milk has always been my milk of choice when it comes to oatmeal and pancakes, simply because it's very high in protein and it has a lot of other good nutrients in it. Now to finish things off, I'm adding some frozen berries on top of each jar. Frozen food has about 30% less micronutrients than fresh, but I'm way more likely to eat them regularly, because they're more convenient and less expensive. I would actually recommend you to put the soy milk and berries in only 3 jars, and then do the other 2 later in the week, because they otherwise may go bad. Now let's talk a bit about the nutrition profile. This is very high in vitamin B1 and vitamin C, as well as magnesium and phosphorus. The fiber helps you stay satiated and is great for gut health, and the omega-3 we've just talked about. Protein here is at 34.2 grams per jar. Now that the sweet potatoes are almost done baking, I've started to prepare a little side salad with some tomatoes and a bit of radish. The sweet potatoes go into the boxes first, then I'm adding in a little bit of lettuce. I'm always trying to pick some darker ones because things like iceberg lettuce barely contain any nutrients, and the darker they are, the more nutritious they are as well. This is also why I'm adding some arugula as well. And then the tomatoes and the radish for some color and extra flavor. Now I'm mashing the sweet potatoes so that there's a bit more room inside for the filling, which is going to be 1 large can of chickpeas in total. So this means about 200 grams per box or per sweet potato. The chickpeas are adding in a bit more protein and a bit more carbohydrate to the meal. And they're generally very high in nutrients like iron and calcium. Plus, chickpeas are basically my favorite legume. Now let's make the dressing. This has about 400 milliliters of sugar-free soy yogurt as a base. I'm also adding in 4 teaspoons of olive oil, as well as some maple syrup. Little side note here, syrup is not much healthier than white sugar, but I do think that it tastes better, at least in this recipe. Adding some salt and some dill as well, and the juice of about 1 lemon. Just some pepper as well as a last step, and then I like to put this in the fridge in a separate container, just because the salad gets a bit soggy if you keep the dressing on for too long. So I'm adding the dressing on the night before or right when I eat it, as well as a handful of cashews. Now about the micronutrient profile of this meal, it's really high in vitamin A and vitamin K as well as copper. The fiber here mainly comes from the chickpeas, and the protein is a bit lower here, which for me that's fine because I'm usually having this meal about 2 hours after the oatmeal. If you want, you could also add a little shake on the side. Now lastly, let's talk about my pre-workout snack, because this has been an absolute game changer to my workout performance, and I will be including it in the micronutrient profile. This is just some sugar-free soy milk blended with some protein powder and ice cubes, as well as a coffee with usually oat milk or another plant-based milk of choice. I'm almost always having this with a banana and 3 dates on the side. And almost all the rest of the food is here in this meal prep. I'm having the overnight oats for my post-workout, which is basically a brunch. Got 2 different flavors here, then the salad with the sweet potato and chickpeas as my lunch, just about 2 hours after the post-workout meal. And then we're having the pasta here. This on the right is just the sauce for the salad, and I'm typically heating up the pasta.
If you have different needs, maybe you need less calories than me, then you could, for example, leave out the dates or nuts and or reduce the amount of pasta and oats. If you need more calories, you can add more oil to the salad dressing, more nuts, and you can also have a bigger snack as well. Now about the nutrition profile, this adds up to about 2,100 calories, as well as roughly 120 grams of protein, which falls in the range of 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, and that's currently my goal. When it comes to vitamins, we're a bit low on the vitamin E here. You could simply change that up by adding in some almond milk, because this is extremely high in vitamin E. The rest of the vitamins are covered very well here. And you should not be afraid if you don't hit a certain nutrient one day, because your body is capable of storing them for weeks, months, and some of them even for years. When it comes to the minerals, all of the critical ones like calcium and iron are perfectly covered here. But there are 2 things that stand out. Iodine is generally very low in foods because of modern agriculture, at least here in Germany. I would recommend to eat algae products every 1 or 2 weeks, as I do, use iodized salt or simply get a supplement. And the second thing you can see here is the manganese. Manganese absorption highly correlates with the amount of iron that you're getting in. If you're deficient in iron, you're actually more likely to get intoxication from manganese. This meal prep though is very high in iron. The upper limit is very conservative at 11 milligrams per day and we're slightly above it. However, there have never been any cases reported of manganese intoxication solely from food. Also, the phytates from the tofu reduce the manganese absorption. Vitamin C, by the way, which we also have plenty of in this meal prep, increases the absorption of iron, but not the absorption of manganese. Another thing to point out here is that we have plenty of fiber, which is great for gut health and satiety. And lastly, we can look at the protein here. And as you can see, all amino acids are more than covered. And one thing I wanted to show you on the example of lysine here is that the protein powder isn't even listed. That does not mean that the protein powder is low in lysine, but Chronometer does not have the data of the amino acids in the protein powder. Which simply means that we're actually even getting in more amino acids than you can see. The overall protein content is correct though. And now let's look at what I had for dinner.
And oh my gosh, how good does this look? There's some spinach on the side, some almonds and pomegranate seeds, falafel, red cabbage, cauliflower, and underneath we got some chickpeas. We're probably going to go there again because this was very filling. And because I was that full, I actually took the dessert home with me and had that with a decaf, which I'm having most evenings, with some oat milk and the brownie on the side.